Welcome to the AI Universal Podcast. I am here with another amazing guest. As you know, this podcast is all about talking to people who are disrupting using AI and how they're doing it in a way that's scalable, how they're doing it in a way that's impactful, and we're talking about the communities that they're serving with this technology. So much of AI is talked about from a technology standpoint. On this podcast, I like to talk about the human side of it too and how it's impacting the communities that we serve. So today's guest, Mr. Jerome Tyler. Listen, if you guys want some energy, you guys are in for the right podcast. Y'all tuned into the right place today. Jerome, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. Man. Super excited and pumped up for this podcast, for this discussion, for this conversation. Man, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I told y'all what I tell y'all. Was I lying? Listen, this for me is a very sort of timely conversation because of what Posteridy.ai does, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But before we jump into it, give the people a little bit of your background, man. How did you get into working with AI, building the company that you're building? What's your background?
Absolutely. Yeah. So background in automotive finance as well as mortgage finance. And as I was in the mortgage industry, I had begun to see the shift, not only the shift in job loss and economies getting tightened up, but more so the shift in people leaving their jobs or getting laid off and starting businesses. And so obviously as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you're always looking for how you can solve a problem. And so I saw, hey, I'm in a season where for the last, at the time, 6 or 7 years, my whole life had revolved around helping people get approved, right? But now it's like, okay, let's pivot, right? Let's shift gears and let's change that home approval to now business credit and business financing approvals to help people go out and grow and scale their businesses. And so now, once I leave the mortgage industry, I'm actually helping people get funded manually, right? We have our funding company, our advisory company, where we get on the line with groups of entrepreneurs and even one-on-one sessions and coach them through and guide them through how to actually get funding. But now, all right, do we want to get stuck on a horse and buggy when Henry Ford just built the automobile? Yeah. Right? Do we want to get stuck at the payphone where we now have cell phones? Yep. And so I also believe that some of the greatest entrepreneurs do not miss the boat or the train of innovation. And so that is how we got to Posterity. The name is actually a biblical term. Posterity means for future generations. And I believe that as many of us that have resources in the marketplace for our businesses to grow it, we can truly build out stronger, better, more powerful future generations because we have access to the economic resources that we need.
Man, I love that. And I really love the name. Posteridy.ai, it says it in the name. Generationally here, we're thinking about, our kids. Like, that's the type of engagement that really helps communities to move forward, to uplift, to upskill, to upgrade, all of the things that is necessary at the community level is built into that name, Posteridy.ai. All right, so tell us about Posteridy.ai. What exactly does it do?
Phenomenal question. So Posteridy is a business credit software platform that entrepreneurs can go into and, number one, enter in their information, right? Their profile, everything from business structure to personal credit to revenue to their actual business name, their industry, their NAICS code, and the system reads it. Now, there's two things that's happening at one time. Not only is the AI underwriter reading it in order to produce recommendations, but the software actually stands as a checklist for entrepreneurs to properly structure their business. One of the things that holds so many entrepreneurs back is not knowing how to properly structure their business. Everything from your business name to understanding which industries are high risk versus low risk, to understanding that, hey, although you have a quote unquote booming business and you're operating out of your home, it's still best practice for you to at least have a virtual address, right? Because this right here is what strengthens your business before you go into underwriting. And so again, serves as a checklist so that you can have all of your T's crossed and I's dotted when it comes to your actual business structure. But then after that, the software in and of itself makes real-time recommendations for the products that you would qualify for based on your profile. Okay, so everybody starts out in entrepreneurship in a different phase. Like no matter which, like no one situation is the same, right? Jerron Tyler could be an 800 and Tremaine could be an 800, but Jerron Tyler has 5 strong primary accounts, which Tremaine only has 2 authorized user accounts. Now we both have an 800 credit score, but the difference is my profile is more mature and it's stronger, right? Yours isn't. And so in that instance, you need different recommendations, although we both still have the same credit score. And so the software gives cutting edge recommendations to entrepreneurs based on their actual situation. Now, here is what makes me 10 times more excited. When you look at the lens of business credit and business funding, oftentimes at large, we talk about it from a very linear standpoint, only introducing the idea and the concept of a business credit card alone. But there's so many other avenues that you can go by way of. And so Posteridy on the dashboard, you'll see 10 different categories of financing that you can engage in. Net 30 accounts, business credit cards, gas cards, business lines of credit, CDFI loans, SBA loans, business automotive financing. And so there are different lanes that you can go in, fintech business lines of credit. And so this right here gives the entrepreneur diversity when they're going in. All right. Equipment financing. And one of the things that I teach, and then we also have embedded inside of the software, is this whole philosophy behind understanding and identifying what it is exactly that you need. Right? Everybody does not, like right here. This is an $18,000 business credit card with M&T, right? But if I'm in a situation and let's say I'm a 650, I have a 650 FICO and I own an HVAC company or I own a plumbing company, right? And, you know, let's say we just got access to some contracts and I have workers, we need trucks, we're tired of leasing, we want to go buy. Right? If I'm under the mindset that I got to go get a business credit card, then I could be gating my success. In that instance, I may need to go to a company that specifically offers equipment financing. I may need to go directly to Ford Automotive because they specialize in business auto loans, right? So it's being able to understand what you need. I'll say this last thing. One of the things that causes a lot of people to fail times 10 is putting themselves in a situation where they're going to get unnecessary inquiries, right? And so you went and applied for this place. They told you that you didn't qualify because you had a collection, right? Well, that equipment finance company, guess what? Most of them don't care about collection accounts, especially if they're under a certain amount, right? Because the equipment alone serves as the collateral. Right. And so, you know, those are man, you asked me this question. I get so excited. but that's what it does. Ultimately, it's a business credit platform that helps you structure your business. But even outside of that, it provides cutting edge recommendations as to where you should apply based on your profile.
Man, I love that. So let's unpack that because you said a lot there. First and foremost, I think that, you know, just at a high level, let's start up top. I think that this is something that is really, really, really necessary, you know, and I love, you know, how you're approaching this. And the reason I say that is because, you know, most communities, especially if they are more under-resourced communities, think about like the Black community and the difficulty, Black founders, Black women founders, there's some, you know, populations or sectors of entrepreneurs that have a hard time raising money, you know, accessing capital, in capital. And this is not like a racial thing. I mean, the numbers don't lie. I mean, there are real statistics out there about how, let's just say, for instance, a Black woman founder gets 0.0% of the VC capital and angel capital that's going out. And this is trillions of dollars every year. And so, like, you know, if they're missing out on that capital that they may need to start, launch, or grow their business, what are the other alternatives? And it sounds like, Posteridy AI is thinking about the other alternatives, for that Black woman founder, for that Black male founder, for, that Midwestern, housewife, and this is not even a race thing, just women in general, that white Midwestern housewife, in Indiana that wants to now start a side business doing catering or something, she'll have just as many problems, raising capital as well, So it sounds like the Posteridy AI is trying to solve that problem. So just at a high level, talk about, that dichotomy there and how you're thinking about solving that problem with Posteridy before we get into the weeds.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, I want to introduce a concept that has been, just an amazingly overwhelming thought that I've been having for the last couple of weeks, or maybe even the last couple of months. I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he introduced this concept of grant money. I would almost like kind of tie grant money to raising capital, if you will, because there's a skill set that's associated with it, right?
Sure.
You have to go out, you have to communicate, you have to sell yourself, you have to properly package your company, etc., to, hopefully get approved or qualify for the funding.
Yep.
But prior to, because I've been in this space for quite amount of years now, that wasn't even a thought in my mind, because as I'm navigating this business funding space, my perspective is, and I didn't even know this at the time, but I control my own destiny. I'm in competition with nobody.
Sure.
It's based on me, my profile, and how I relate to the bank.
Right.
And so, I mean, like, this is an entirely new concept. It's like, man, I know the credit bureaus. I know which banks to go to, the regional banks, the community banks, the credit unions, the national banks. I know what amount they're going to give. I know it in and out. And so with this one here, I believe so many founders, because I've been seeing it a lot. You see it a lot on social media. You see it a lot at events where people are talking about raising money. I need to raise money. Where, like, man, literally, I funded, not that there's no benefit in gaining extra capital, because you can gain extra market share and things like that. But, man, by the grace of God and by the skill set that I have, I was able to self-fund Posteridy.ai, utilizing, my capital, OPM, i.e. the lines of credit cards and things like that. But I just think that it's such a dynamic skill set to have, because you don't have to, quote unquote, rely on anyone on the outside should you need to. Now, again, I believe in diversity. I ain't shutting down, venture capitalists. I ain't shutting down somebody that want to invest. But my philosophy behind credit and funding is get as much credit as you can before you need it, because it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Right. And so that way you're never pigeonholed, you're never boxed into a corner. You always have a solution at your disposal. And so I truly believe that when I tell you, Tremaine, just the idea and the concept and the thought behind, you know what? There's different products out here. You know what I mean? Like, there's different, like, if I have challenge credit, I couldn't go to a CDFI right now if I have a solid business plan, if I have a bit of revenue coming in, if I have a marketing plan, right? Like, if I have an 800, then I can go to some of the national banks, and I maybe even be able to get approved for 2 products in one sitting, right? Like, it's just so many ways to skin a cat. And, this is the philosophy that I live under. At the end of the day, there are no problems in the earth, right? There's only a problem with thinking about the solution, right? Like, every problem, like anything in the earth, we're going to look at it, and we have the capacity, the ability, right? And the fortitude, right? To go in and pick it apart and bring solutions to it. Right? I love
that. No, I like that concept. And, and the way you put it, I think it was very eloquent, which is that, we can control, You know, and I like how you're thinking about it in terms of posterity. You are in control of your own credit. You in control of, you know, that is definitely not dependent. Yes, somebody on the other side has to approve it, but you can control all of the inputs that make them say yes.
100.
And that's a very different way of thinking about it. I like that because it definitely is empowering. It makes you feel like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm a founder and access to capital is a thing, but if I, you know, use Posteridy AI, take its suggestions, do the things that I need to do on my end, you know, with a little bit of time, I can go in, you know, and get any amount of capital that I need, you know, and like that is a very powerful, I think, narrative that many communities just don't understand or don't have. So, you know, I guess, you know, follow-up question to that, because you said this is sort of a new concept that you're introducing. It sounds to me like this is something that from a narrative standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, from an education standpoint, that communities just need to know, because just hearing you say it is really empowering. So, I mean, is that something that you're thinking about outside of the technology? So Posteridy is the technology. It does everything that you said it's going to do. But it sounds like just on the other side of it, there's an educational component. There's a empowerment component, you know, that kind of needs to run alongside the tech that you're building.
Absolutely. So, man, phenomenal concept. So that's actually what we built prior to Posteridy. So our education component. So I've written books. All of my books have been, the undergirding have been finance. But my most recent book that I wrote, it's called 100K in One Day.
Okay.
Right? So 100KinOneDay.com. And it really, like, inside of the book, I break down step by step how anybody can go out and get 100K in one day. Now, obviously, there's preparation that comes along with that, but anybody can set themselves up to go get 100K in one day. And we've even done, we currently do them as well. Business credit, well, everything is tied in. So the business credit bootcamp, so the businesscreditbootcamp.net, right? You see me on there screaming and you know, pumped up. Business credit workshops in person. And so there's absolutely a component. But man, one of the things that I want to touch on that you just said was that would be an amazing tip, because I know you have man, a ton of tech founders and even investors that watch. But man, when you go into banking institutions, a lot of people don't know this, but obviously all lending is based on, you know, capacity and risk factor, right? Business is high risk. You know, you're either going to get low capital or no capital, right? Because the underwriter and the institution, they have one concept, like, all right, how are we going to get our money back?
Right.
However, when you start looking at tech companies, one thing that I want every listener to take away right now, if you don't already know this, is that tech companies are low risk companies, right? So when you go into banks, there is a great chance that you'll get what you need based on the NAICS code, based on the industry, because it's also, just like Tremaine just talked about, a lot of times when somebody's building something, there's also a dynamic level of expertise. And so there are other products that can spew off of that, whether it be a book, whether it be an advisory practice, whether it be, you know, coaching, consulting, whatever. So I just wanted to plug that as well, because it's not like, you know, a trucking company or somebody going to the bank saying, hey, I'm a brand new investor and I want to start flipping real estate tomorrow. It's like deny. Right.
Yeah.
This is too high risk. So
yeah. No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff, man. You dropping all kind of gems, man.
Come on, man.
Have you do a boot camp in the community or something, man.
Come on, man. Let's go.
We do a lot of that type of stuff, man. We gotta bring you in, man. Put them in, coach. Put them in.
Come on, man. Come on, man. That's what we do. That's what let me tell you, that's what I llove to do most. Right. Okay. I love to do that the most. But again, man, we want to remain innovative. We want to remain cutting edge. And man, it's just something, man, that God placed in my spirit. Just like, man, this thing needs to be produced. I saw it. And I just believe in child. I think, man, one of the things, you know, somebody may ask me, well, Jerron, man, what excites you, man? What turns you up? Man, challenges.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
let's go do something that we never done before.
Let's
Like,
solve some problems for sure.
let's solve some problems. And if you win, congratulations. And if you lose, congratulations.
You
Right?
learn.
You
Yeah,
learn. You get the
yeah.
wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding. So
100%,
yeah,
100%. Man, this is
yeah.
good stuff. All right, so let's transition down to the tech piece of it. So this is an
Mm-hmm.
AI podcast. Let's talk about the AI. So I think, and this sounds like, a key differentiator in terms of what you do and what others, platforms that may be competitors may do, is that it sounds like the recommendation piece. So AI being able to make really specific recommendations, for you and your business. Is
Mm-hmm.
that kind of how you're using the AI when it comes to the benefit or the value that is adding to your customers or clients?
Absolutely. So there are a plethora of components. So there's that recommendation component, right? Then inside of the software, we also have a component where people can actually enter in the business credit products that they already have. Now, that was a key component for me because when you go and look at different hosting sites that provide business credit reports like Experian Business, Equifax Business, Dun & Bradstreet, there are never components or aspects where they are really showing you all of your trade lines. Okay. There, if you go to Dun & Bradstreet, they will show you a few, but they will not have the actual name. They'll only have the account numbers. Okay. If you go to Experian Business, same thing, but there's always a trade line missing. And so I'm like, man, well, what if we implemented a component where people could actually enter in their trade lines and visually see them? All right. Now, here's the other added benefit to that. Once people can actually see their trade lines, the software now knows not to make the same recommendation twice. All right. So we see that Tremaine has, 3 products with Bank of America. We see that he has, 2 products with PNC and 1 product with Atlantic Union Bank. Right now, the software will be able to see, well, he has a product with Atlantic Union Bank, but it's a credit card. Atlantic Union Bank now has a premier business line of credit for entrepreneurs that have been in business for 2 years, right? So we can recommend that, right? And so it's just tightening it up because we want to make it as accurate as possible. The next thing that the software does that I absolutely love, and we've realized through our coaching practice, is that we as a people, as a human race, we've never had a problem doing anything, right? Whether it was good or evil, man does not have a problem doing anything. The issue is understanding the next wise step, right? And so when I'm going through this quote unquote credit journey, it's Tremaine, you got approved for 100,000, but what's next, right? I don't know. I mean, I got approved for 100K, but it's like, what if you always had a roadmap and a guide for your next batch of funding, right? Your next batch. And one of what my philosophy is that every quarter, founders, entrepreneurs, leaders, executives, CFOs, this is a key, right? A best practice that everyone should engage their funding potential at least once a quarter, every 3 months. Right? Looking at grant opportunities, looking at credit card opportunities, looking at business lines of credit opportunities, because again, you want to make sure that your economics are as healthy as possible in the company. So
Got you. So it sounds like you're hitting it at multiple different angles, first and foremost, which is a good thing, because to your point, the myopic view that you may get from, the Experians of the world, the Dun & Bradstreets of the world, doesn't tell the whole picture. Correct. And, you want to be in a position, again, going back to something you said earlier, being empowered, being in the driver's seat, part of that is understanding where you are so that you can map out where you want to go. I just don't think that there's a way to do that if you don't have the whole picture, which it sounds like you're thinking about. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right, let's break it down into like something that's bite sized. As we kind of wind it down, something that the average entrepreneur that's out here, selling their t-shirts, selling their nail salon, doing their hair, detailing their cars, like you said, maybe that trucking company that started, doing last mile delivery, whatever it is. We have an entrepreneur who doesn't have any lines of credit. They're just getting started in this conversation. They don't have any lines of credit. They don't have any credit cards. They're hearing this and saying, man, this is amazing. I got the power. I didn't know all of this was available to me.
Right.
Their credit score is not great, 600, maybe 620. They got to work on some things. They know it. What does that entrepreneur need to be thinking about so that they can start participating in this conversation?
Phenomenal question. So it's understanding the building blocks. And I'll give two more. I believe that this question or this response will coincide with the question that you're asking as well. So there are two components even within the software that will assist. Okay. The very first component is that we have an AI coach within the software. Right.
Okay.
So you have questions. You can play. You already built out and filled out your profile, but now within the software, you can go into the software and say literally that I'm a entrepreneur who has a 620 credit score. I'm looking to start my detailing business. I'm looking to start, my funding company. I'm looking to start my t-shirt, my branded company, whatever. However, I have a 620. I have a late payment here. I have a collection here. Where should I start? AI coach will respond immediately. Right.
Okay.
Let them know specifically what they need to do. The next component that we have that's key is that I said, you know what? We got AI, right? Tremaine, we got AI.
We got AI. We're in there.
But I believe that the deeper we go into AI, there's still human beings that will long for human connection and human touch.
100%.
So what else we got? We got an actual human-based community within the software.
Okay. Like
right?
that.
Where inside entrepreneurs, leaders, founders can engage with one another, asking questions, sharing success, sharing failure, sharing, how they navigated a situation. Right now, I want to give you just this last tactical component.
Sure.
If I'm in a situation like this, 620, don't have the perfect credit. There's two things that I'm going to do. Right. Well, I'll give you three things that I'm going to do. First thing is I'm going to search out like an absolute madman, a solid, reputable credit repair company. That's the first thing that I'm going to do.
Okay.
All right? The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put together the most dynamic business marketing strategy that there's ever been on earth. Because although my personal credit is not in a situation where, I can quote unquote go out and get approved for whatever I want, there are banking institutions that will still fund you if you have ample capital every month. Right. So I have a 600 credit score, but my business is bringing in 20 grand a month. It's bringing in 30 grand. It's bringing in 50 grand. You can still get funding to go out to actually grow your business. The very next thing that I'm going to do is I'm now going to maximize the business credit products that I do qualify for, i.e., EIN only cards, maybe like gas cards, a Shell card, a card at Exxon. Now, again, that's not a card that you can technically go out and fund your business with, but it does build out your profile while you're working on everything else.
Gotcha.
Right. Another, and also touching on that third piece, I encourage all entrepreneurs to go out and engage those industries or those businesses that you constantly buy from, right? Engage them and ask them, do they have net 30 offerings, right? Net 60, net 90, because again, although it's not your 100 grand in unsecured capital, it puts you in a space where you are still able to begin building your business credit, because if you're going to pay cash anyway, you might as well stretch it out over 30, 60 to 90 days and build out a business credit profile.
Yeah. No, I like that. Those are some very, very actionable sort of steps. So now let's take it to the end, of that journey that we just started. So let's just say that entrepreneur who is at the beginning building block starts taking some of their advice. They jump into Posterity AI. Come on, guys, you got to do that. You get the recommendations. You engage with the community. They hear what you just said, and they say, all right, these are some steps I can take tomorrow. They start working on it. What's the time horizon from that entrepreneur now being on the other side of things where their credit is good, they have the business credit, they can walk into that bank and say, hey, I'm Tremaine, they pull that Social Security and boom, 100 grand same day, just like your book said. Like, what's the time horizon for that? Is that a 12-month journey? Is that an 18-month journey from beginning to, kind of being on the other side of things? Incredible. What does that normally look like?
Yeah, incredible question. So it's all predicated on your situation. Now let's break down that. All right. There are some people out here, for example, that, obviously I was in the mortgage industry, so I have a lot of experience with this. There are some people that may have left an apartment, right? Just the reality. You left an apartment and you didn't make your last month payment, or there was just some type of discrepancy. Well, by way of law, collections can only remain on your report for 7 years. So let's just say you're at year 6 and 10 months, right? Well, if that's the only thing that's holding you back, you got 2 months before that collection is just removed off your credit report. And now your credit score could jump up to a 700, 800, whatever was holding you back. But then in the other situation, you somebody that got late payments, you got collections, charge-offs, and you just got a car repossessed. Man, Tremaine, that could take you 24 months, right? That could take you 12 months. Yeah. So everybody's situation is different. But here's the one thing that I want everybody to know. This is one thing that I want you to know. I'd always say, by way of, Jerron's most simplistic definition, if you want superior credit, do this one thing: pay who you say you're going to pay, right? Yeah. Period. Yeah. But if you're not able to pay who you're going to, if you run into a rough patch, a hard time, a rough season, that's okay. But instead of only focusing on the debt, I want you to shift your mind to focus on creation. I want you to focus on solution. I want you to focus 100% on generating capital, because the faster you're able to generate capital, add value to other people in exchange for income, then you can take that money and pay off everything that is owed. Right. Once you got these things paid off, now you can even go in and dispute the validity of how they reported them. But the main thing is getting that capital paid off, right? Getting that debt paid off. So, man, I hope that was helpful, man.
It's real helpful, bro. This has been amazing, man. I love not just your energy, man, but your passion for helping people, helping communities. I mean, also, and I talk about this around the country all the time, is the importance of entrepreneurship and people starting businesses. It just builds economics. I mean, it really is a driver for economic development. I mean, everything from not just the company itself, and the founder being financially stable, but it also goes into things like creating jobs, taxable income for the region, becoming a resource for those around you, the lender, not the borrower, that type of a thing. Now you can go out and help. Like, it's so much that's wrapped into being a support for a successful entrepreneur to go from ideation all the way through to launch and acceleration, et cetera, et cetera. There is a lot wrapped up into that, and Posteridy AI seems like is packaged right in the middle. So, man, thank you so much for the conversation today, Jerron. This has been amazing.
Come on, man. I appreciate you. Likewise. Thank you for this platform. Amazing platform, man. Let me tell you, I hope and pray, man. Just want to encourage you to keep pushing. Man, this is a beautiful platform to bring in entrepreneurs to just converse, to discuss, man, to conjure up new ideas, man.
Yeah. All right, before we drop off, tell the people about what you got coming up, the books, where they can find you, all of that good stuff, man. The people need to connect.
Absolutely. So, man, on almost every platform, from TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, at J. Anthony Tyler. Obviously, they give you 2 ways to spell it out. So it's J. Anthony Tyler, and then it's also Jerron Anthony Tyler. That's JERONE ANTHONY. TYLER. So J. Anthony Tyler, Jerron, and Jerron Anthony Tyler. Also, you can find us on Threads, Instagram, Facebook, at Posteridy.ai. You can also go to Posteridy.ai. I wanted to say .com, but it's literally Posteridy.ai
For sure.
on the web. And man, the beautiful thing about Posterity is, man, I believe that every entrepreneur in the country should at least engage it one time. It is completely free for the first 7 days. And thereafter, the subscription is $50 per month. And so, man, I believe every entrepreneur, like I said, should just at least engage it to see what exactly it is that they get out of it. And man, we just running all throughout the year, man, bringing more awareness to it, teaching, coaching, training. We're also on YouTube as well, where every Tuesday at 10 a.m. We do a live funding training. We answer questions that may have been sent all throughout the week. So different scenarios, from personal credit approvals to business credit approvals to, you know, how to think about your situation. So, man, we got a lot of inspiration, empowerment, you know, and yeah, man. Yeah,
For sure.
So yep. J. Anthony Tyler, man, on everything.
Y'all heard it here first, man. Please go connect with Jerron. He has all of the game, as you guys can see, and all of the energy and passion to get you guys where you need to be. I'm going to connect. I'm going to do everything that he told me. I learned a lot today. So don't think I got it all figured out, man. I'm doing exactly what you told me to do, man.
Come on, man.
But, man, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Absolutely.
Everybody, this is another amazing episode of AI Universal Podcast. As you can see, we bringing heat.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.